Hi, welcome to our headquarter. I'm Anna, and I'm going to take you on a virtual tour. Follow me. This is Torre Franchi, and as you can see, it's made with a very particular material called zebrino. Zebrino is a super rare stone, and this was the very first time that it was used to build the facade of a building. It was processed with a machine that helps emphasizing the veins. In fact, the lighter part of the stone, it's much softer than the darker one, and it helped creating a 3D effect. The space you see on your right, it's the interior design showroom, where of course marble has a leading role. Get a sneak peek. Our owners are art enthusiasts. Periodically, we make available our space to temporary art showings. The square floor, it's made in Bardiglio, one of the materials unique to Carrara. And in fact, it's one of the most popular used in the past. These slabs are 4 centimeters thick, and the steps are made out of one stone, and it's solid Bardiglio. Let's go inside and look at our offices. Ciao Luisa, ciao Michela. And this, it's another one of our exclusive stones, and one of my favorite. It's called paonazzo. It was mounted a macchia aperta to enhance its beauty and its details. Work in progress here. We're now standing next to the Cinderella table, the very first design piece realized by a robot. And the first ever made was purchased by Brad Pitt. We are about to enter the heart of our world. And here we are. We really pushed the limits of marble production. We took this sculpture at the Stone Theater, where every year our team gives life to extraordinary ideas of world-renowned architects. Aren't we a great team? And now let's hop on the bike, as we have a long way to go. Look up. So much light coming from the ceiling. With natural light, you can really appreciate the beauty of the stones and recognize their unique characteristics. And when the sun is not shining, our stones still do, since the artificial light that we have installed over here doesn't alter the natural nuances and colors of the stones. And now we can take a closer look to our marbles. This is the very famous statuario. It's the feather in our cap, and it's one of the most prestigious marble in the world. It only comes from our quarries, the Betogli quarries here in Carrara, and you can recognize, and it's characterized by a very bright white, super clean, very cool white, with gray veins that are localized in certain points of the block, and everything else, it's almost super white. This marble over here, it's called Calacatta Cremo, and it's also coming from our Betogli quarry. It's funny to know that the statuario that we just saw and the Calacatta Cremo are coming from the same exact mountain. You can see the differences though. Here the background is much warmer, there are more veins, and they are not as gray as the statuario, but they are more taupe. And it's just like a warmer feeling as opposed to the crisp white of the statuario. What we're looking at now, it's a slab of statuarietto. Statuarietto, it's also a marble that comes from our Bertolli quarry. The name comes from the fact that it's in the family of the statuario marble, and they have a very important thing in common, which is the white background. As you can see, the background is very white. It's a cool white, not as the warm background of the Calacatta that we saw before. And the main difference between the statuario and the statuarietto that we have here is the fact that here, as you can see, the veins resemble almost like a spider web. They are more dense, they are more concentrated. Even though they are thinner, you can see that they cover the overall block, or in this case, the overall slab. This is a slab of statuarietto, and like the statuario and the Calacatta, it comes from our Bertolli quarry. You can see that it comes from the same family of the statuario. Here comes the name statuarietto because it has a very bright background. It's very white, cool white, with darker veins and more dense. In fact, it almost has like a spider web typology of veins, and they are much darker. This is another of our material. It comes from the quarry that is called Gioia 166, and it's very similar to the statuarietto. However, it comes from a completely different mountain and a completely different family. It's called Gioia moschettato, and the reason being, it's because it has these very distinctive spots that remind of flies. This is why the name in Italian is Gioia moschettato. This is the distinctive characteristic that differentiates the statuarietto between the Gioia. Here we have Gioia miele, also a material coming from the Gioia quarry, number 166. However, you can see that the difference between this one and the Gioia moschettato is the background. Here it's much more warmer, and it's the reason why we call it Gioia miele, honey. It's characterized by the same spots, even though they are less bold, less dense, and they are not as many as in the Gioia moschettato. We're still on the Bertolli quarry. This is a Calacatta. The difference between this Calacatta and the Calacatta Cremo that we saw earlier, it's very basic. The background, it's not as warm as the Calacatta Cremo, and the veins are color tobacco. It has also something that it's very important for us, that gives us the unicity of the piece. It has infiltration of pyrite. The pyrite, it's unique to the Bertolli mountain, to the Bertolli quarry. And as you can see, it forms a seal on the slabs, and it makes them unique in the world. Last but not least, we have slabs of Calacatta here behind me. We're very proud of them because 20 years ago, due to these ruptures that you see over here, these couldn't have been displayed and sold as you see them, but they could have become tiles. Thanks to technology and the work of our team, we were able to recover the full block and add value and uniqueness to this material.